I had an experience down in Australia which I think we could probably translate here in America on a larger scale. It was a mutual fund type bet. And effectively what that would be is that you would just say a $20 bet, and you would have someone professionally handicapped. So let's say you got 1,000 people put together in this $20,000 pot, you would get a professional handicapper to handicap the day, bet as freely as they wanted to do at the end of the day, like you'd have a dividend. But the key to that is that you would have a $20 ticket and you'd be following the races, whether they alerted you by SMS or they had something up on the big screen saying this is the mutual bet for the race. But they had it down in Australia for a couple of years, and it ran very well. The main thing there is, like, if you take an individual person, and that's what we've talked about here, is these barriers to entry. If you take an individual person who's never been to the races before, and you say, okay, buy this $20 ticket, you don't have to do anything else, just watch the races, they'll alert you, they'll tell you what you're doing, and follow the person as they're doing it, but follow a professional handicapper. That breaks down that barrier of, and that's one thing that just breaking down those barriers of understanding, racing and understanding how to bet.
We want to set up an area that almost is like a Sports Center-esque desk, where the guy is talking, he's mic'd, he's explaining why he's picking these horses, and try to draw a crowd there, which you now have basically 8 bets a day. You can easily follow, on this race, it's the 2-3 exacta. It gives the common person something to look for in an easy way. We've also tried to capture the market of people that aren't going to the track. These are the people that already are going there that aren't betting. The way we're trying to do that is through our fantasy capping program. It is essentially trying to play off the NFL's massive explosion of fantasy sports. It is a very simple concept. You have one race each week. It's the major race of that week, and you have simple bets. $20 to win, $20 a place, $20 a show, or a $10 exacta. It gets people involved in understanding handicapping without putting their own money on the line. It's a way that we can spread information about the sport risk-free throughout the country, and I think it's been overwhelmingly successful.
Of that was we were trying to identify a way to keep people following racing all year, that it's not just the Triple Crown. And most people think that's about as far as it goes, and the Breeders' Cup still hasn't quite entered the mainstream, even though we're constantly thinking about it. So that was one way to keep people following it every week through the summer, through Saratoga, through Del Mar, kind of understanding the progression of races. So it was very helpful for that, and I think once you get people to start doing it regularly, they'll start reading, online more and wanting to know more themselves, rather than just having it be like, 3 weeks a year they pay attention and that's it. So.
Well, and it was really neat because when we started it, we all of the members of Vision 2020, we were supposed to find 10 non-racing fans. So we had to reach out. So it started off as, a true grassroots campaign, and kind of built more and more. And, some of those, new fans came back, the next year, and they've gone on to the Breeders' Cup website to follow it there. So it's pretty
Our
neat.
First year, I think we had 500 people that knew nothing about horse racing, essentially, for lack of a better term, wagering on races. That second year, I know of at least 20 examples of people that came in, were just a participant, that then started their own league, that got 10 more people. And that's basically how the grassroots campaign works. One guy that was in mine ended up going to every Triple Crown race that year, and had honestly never been to a racetrack before. And he went to all 3 Triple Crown races. It was all because of fantasy capping.
I would love to see handicapping lessons in bars. I know that's kind of weird, but I was out one night, and I'm older, so I don't go out as much. But I look over, and I'm on the second floor. I'm just like looking. Look at all these young people. Like we need a booth set up, and we can teach them how to handicap. And just instead of waiting for them to come to us, why don't we go to them?